The night was quiet in Ayoru village. The moon hid behind the clouds, and the sound of crickets filled the air. Inside a small hut, a weak voice whispered, "Omolara, come closer, my child." Omolara knelt beside her mother's mat, tears in her eyes. Her mother's skin looked pale, her breath slow like the wind before rain. "Mama, please don't leave me," Omolara said, holding her hand tightly. "Please, get better. I'll fetch herbs. I'll call the healer." Her mother smiled softly. "No, my child. The time of the body is ending, but the time of the spirit never ends." She brushed Omolara's cheek with trembling fingers. "Do not fear the dark days that will come. Even when you do not see me, I will be with you. When the wind touches your face, that will be me. When the stars shine above your roof, I will be watching." Omolara began to cry. "Mama, I can't live without you." Her mother's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "You are stronger than you know. The gods made you with light in your heart. Keep that light, Omolara." As she spoke, her breathing slowed. Omolara held her mother's hand until it went still. The night grew colder. For a moment, the lantern flickered. Then a soft wind blew through the window, touching Omolara's face gently, like a kiss. She looked up through her tears and whispered, "Mama." She screamed, and her voice swept through the whole village. Omolara's beauty was known far and wide. Her skin glowed like the evening sun. Her eyes were calm like river water, and her laughter warmed hearts like morning fire. But it was not only her beauty that made her loved, it was her kindness. She greeted the poor, helped the widows, and smiled even when her hands were tired. Omolara's two friends, Abike and Shayo, lived beside her. They grew up together, sharing secrets, dreams, and stories under the mango tree. But as they grew older, something changed. Whenever people praised Omolara, Abike and Shayo's hearts grew tight with jealousy. They smiled outside, but inside, their hearts burned like fire. One beautiful morning, Chief Duro, the wealthiest young man in the village, rode in on his white horse. People bowed as he passed. He arrived at Baba Ade's compound. Omolara came out, her smile warm as always. "Good morning, Chief Duro," she said politely. The chief looked her up and down with prideful eyes. "Ha, Omolara," he said, puffing out his chest. "I've seen many maidens, but none like you. You are beautiful, as you know. I am the richest man in this village. Together, we will shine like the moon and sun. Be my wife, and you will never carry water again. I will take you out of poverty. I will give your father plenty farmlands if he gives me your hand in marriage." The people around gasped. Every girl in Ayoru had dreamed of such a proposal. Even Abike and Shayo, who stood nearby, exchanged jealousy glances. But Omolara lowered her head and spoke softly. "Chief Duro, I thank you for your kindness, but I cannot be your wife." Duro frowned. "What did you say?" He couldn't believe his ears, that a girl could turn him down. "I cannot marry a man who looks down on others," she said gently. "Riches without kindness are like a drum with no sand." Murmurs ran through the crowd. Duro's face turned red with anger. "You will regret this, girl. Many women pray for what you just refused." He climbed his horse and stormed off in anger. Abike clenched her fist, walking towards her. "How dare you turn down Chief Duro?" "Why can't I turn him down?" Omolara replied. Shayo hissed and murmured to herself. She acts like she's too good for everyone. Even the rich want her. As Omolara went back inside, her friends' smiles faded. They looked at each other, their hearts burning with quiet jealousy. "She has everything," Abike whispered, "but soon she will lose it all." And from that day, something dark began to grow in their hearts. One hot afternoon, a royal messenger came to the village square. His voice rang through the crowd. "By the order of His Majesty, the King of Ayoru land, The prince will choose a bride during the festival of beauty. The most beautiful, graceful, and kind maiden shall be the future queen. The village burst into excitement. Women began making new wrappers, braiding their hair and rubbing shea butter on their skin. But everyone whispered the same name, Omolara. Surely she will win, they said. No one in Ayoru shines like her. Abike and Shayo looked at each other. Their smiles faded. If Omolara wins, Abike whispered, we will always live under her shadow. Shayo nodded slowly. Then we must make sure she never reaches the festival. That night, their hearts began to plan a terrible thing. Omolara's days were filled with songs and laughter as she prepared for the festival. She had no pride in her heart. She only wanted to dance and make her late mother proud. Her father, a kind hunter named Babade, carved her a wooden comb and said, my daughter, beauty is not only in the face, it is in the heart that loves and forgives. She smiled and hugged him. I will never forget, Baba. But while she practiced her dance steps, Abike and Shayo sat under the old tree, whispering. She must not go to the festival, Abike hissed. Shayo's eyes gleamed. We will burn her hot. No one will know it was us. That night, when the village slept, Abike and Shayo crept out with a small calabash of palm oil and firewood. They poured the oil around Omolara's hut and set it on fire. The flames rose quickly, lighting the sky. Inside, Omolara woke to the smell of smoke. Her lungs burned. She tried to run, but the fire surrounded her. The flames reached her face, and she screamed in pain. She fell to the floor, coughing, her body trembling. Through the fire, she remembered the day she met a strange old woman in the forest months ago. The woman had been weak and hungry, and Omolara had shared her food. The woman had smiled and given her a small stone, saying, if you ever need help, call me with this. Just hit the stone on the ground 3 times. Now, with tears burning her cheeks, Omolara clutched the stone in her palm as she hit it on the ground 3 times. One part of her mind expecting a miracle, the other part filled with doubt. I need help, she whispered with shaky voice. Almost immediately, a soft wind swept through the flames. The fire bent backward as if pushed by invisible hands. Out of the smoke, the mysterious old woman with silver hair appeared. Her voice was deep like thunder. She lifted Omolara and covered her with her wrapper. Child, do not be afraid. Help is here now. Omolara couldn't believe her eyes. It felt like a dream. The woman held her hand and they both disappeared into the forest. Days passed. The village of Ayoru wept for Omolara and consoled her father. Her burnt hut was all that remained. Everyone believed she had died, even though they couldn't find her body. Abike and Shayo pretended to cry the loudest. Oh, she was like a sister to us, Abike said, wiping fake tears. Yes, Shayo added, may the ghost rest her soul. But in the deep forest, Omolara lay inside a hut made of clay and leaves. The mysterious old woman, whom people called Iyabeni, mixed herbs and whispered ancient words. You are lucky, my child, she said softly. The fire took your skin, but not your soul. Omolara's face was covered in painful scars. She could barely speak. Will I ever look the same again? She asked, tears rolling down her cheeks. The old woman smiled gently. True beauty lives in your heart, not your skin. But the world is cruel. You must hide what they cannot understand. But I don't understand how my heart got burnt. I was careful not to leave any fire before I slept. The old woman smiled. The fire was not as a result of you being careless. You are surrounded with evil and jealous friends. They were responsible for the fire. Omolara could not believe her ears. The news broke her more as she wept. The old woman took golden clay from a calabash and mixed it with honey and palm oil. She shaped it into a mask that glowed beautifully. This will protect you, she said. It will cover your scars, but it will also show your true light. When Omolara wore the mask, it shone so brightly. She looked at her reflection in the bowl of water and gasped. I look like a spirit. You are more than that, said the old woman. You are choosing. The fire was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. Omolara didn't understand what those words meant, but she felt something powerful growing in her heart. courage. Weeks later, the festival day arrived in Ayoru. The drums thundered, dancers filled the square, and maidens in bright wrappers walked proudly. Abike and Shayo were there too, their faces shining with pride. They were sure they would win now that Omolara was gone. The prince, tall and handsome, sat beside his father on a golden chair. His eyes scanned the crowd, looking for something he didn't understand. As the maidens began to dance, the crowd cheered. But suddenly, a strange maiden walked past to join the dance. Everyone's attention shifted to her. She wore a beautiful flowing purple dress and a glowing golden mask. The drummer stopped playing. The crowd gasped. Even the prince stood up. Who is that? Shayo whispered, her heart racing. Abike's hands trembled. It cannot be. She's dead. Omolara walked gracefully into the square. Her voice was calm but strong. I am a daughter of Ayoru, she said, and I have come to dance. The drums began again, softly at first, then louder. Omolara's movements were slow and beautiful, filled with pain and strength. Every step told a story of kindness, betrayal, fire, and rebirth. When she finished, the crowd fell silent, then burst into applause. The prince's eyes shone with wonder and curiosity. Abike and Shayo watched, frozen, their plan falling apart before their eyes. The prince approached Omolara and said, Your dance spoke to my heart. He said, Tell me your name. Omolara lowered her head. Names are not as important as the truth they carry, she said softly. But the king stood up. Remove your mask, child. Let the people see the face of the one who moved their hearts. Abike and Shayo leaned forward, fear written all over their faces. No, Abike whispered. If she removes it, everyone will know. Shayo cut in. Don't worry, let her remove it. That will be better. I'm sure the scars from the fire already destroyed her beauty. The prince will not want to marry an ugly maiden. She smiled wickedly. As you wish, my king. Omolara slowly lifted her hands. She was dead scared that her burnt face will be revealed to the whole village, and the prince, who was already interested in her, would turn her down in front of the whole village. The golden mask shimmered. The crowd held its breath. Omolara finally removed her mask, revealing her face, and the crowd gasped in shock. How is she still alive? Some said, We thought she was dead. Others whispered. The most shocking part to Omolara was when she touched her face and couldn't feel any scar or pain. Her scars were gone. Her skin was even more beautiful than before. Everyone fell to their knees, whispering, A miracle! Abike screamed, No, it can't be. Omolara turned toward her and Shayo, her eyes filled with sorrow. These two lit the fire that burned my heart. They wanted to kill me because they were jealous that I would win the dance. The crowd gasped in shock. Abike and Shayo fell to their knees crying. Forgive us, they begged. We were blinded by envy. Omolara looked at them calmly. I forgive you, she said softly. But may this remind you, when you set fire for another, it is your own shadow that burns first. Guards, lock the both of them up. They will suffer for the atrocity they committed. The king shouted from where he sat, and the guards dragged Shayo and Abike away from there. Rain began to fall, soft and gentle. The prince took Omolara's hand. A heart like yours deserves a crown, he said. She smiled sadly, looking toward the forest. Thank you, mother, she whispered. You kept your promise. Your spirit never left me. Moral of the story. Jealousy blinds the heart and burns the soul that carries it. True beauty, like kindness, can never be destroyed. It only shines brighter through the flames. If you enjoyed this story and want more, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon for new video notifications. You can also check out some of the videos here. Thank you for watching. Remain blessed.